Hey, I'm Chuck Dixon, and I'm a 30-plus year veteran in the comic book business. I write comic books for a living. And a lot of people are asking me what I think of the new Birds of Prey trailer for the Birds of Prey movie that's going to be out next year, I think. I didn't see the trailer. I really don't care. But what I'm here to do is set the record straight for you comic book historians and nerds of all other stripes as to how Birds of Prey came to be and how the true creators of Birds of Prey are not going to get their due. Pretty much, they're going to be ignored. Um, as the DC comic book cinematic universe and the Marvel cinematic universe move further and further and further from the source material, in other words, move further and further away from the comic books that they're based on, the creators are getting left behind. And with the death of Stan Lee, that only makes it worse. Because I think for the great unwashed, for most people walking around out there, Stan Lee created comic books. Everything they think about related to comic books and comic book creators is Stan Lee. With his passing, comic book creators don't have a face anymore. They don't have a public persona. So they're viewed as just a faceless mass who have created this bottomless well of intellectual property that Disney and Warner's can mine until the end of time. And as the movie franchises take on a life of their own, as I said, they're moving away from the comic book stuff, the stuff that we created. It was created by the freelance comic book community. And we're going to be forgotten. Well, we already have been forgotten. Most people can't name a comic book creator other than Stan Lee. So that brings us to Birds of Prey and the history of Birds of Prey. The Birds of Prey comic book was the brainchild of Jordan B. Gorfinkel, who was an editor at DC, who I worked with frequently for many years. I worked with Gorf, and he came up with the idea that Black Canary and Oracle would make a great team, and that they should have their own book together. At this point in time, the book didn't have a blanket title. It was just this idea in Gorf's head that he couldn't let go of. And he approached me over and over again for almost a year to help him develop the title. And I told him over and over again that I couldn't see it because Oracle, the former Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, the book that she was featured in had recently been canceled. Black Canary had her own title that had been recently canceled. Although, the readers are kind of saying they're not interested in these characters. Gorf wasn't taking no for an answer. He wasn't even taking maybe for an answer. He wasn't even taking, I'll talk to you about this later for an answer. He just kept after me about it. And eventually I relented. And I asked him recently why he didn't give up on me, why he just didn't go to another writer. And he said because he honestly felt that I was the only guy who would get it, even though I wasn't getting it when he was pitching it to me. So he sold DC on it, and he put me to work. And within 6 or 8 pages of the first script, I got it. I saw what he saw. I saw the chemistry between Black Canary and Oracle. Black Canary, a leap before you look, kind of reckless, a little bit broken, was in contrast with Barbara Gordon, Oracle, the former Batgirl, who was anything but a leap before you look type. She needed all the intel, she needed all the data before she did anything. She always wanted to be sure of her every move. She was a chess player. And, Black Canary was a, twister player. So she just sort of went where she had to go and did what she had to do to get the job done. Anyway, the chemistry between the two did work out perfectly. And his central idea that they not meet for almost 3 years of comic book material, that Black Canary never know exactly who she was working for and who she was working with. That gimmick paid off in spades. I mean, readers love that, and it really made the book different. And we went from the initial one shot to another one shot to a mini series to another one shot, and finally a monthly. And the monthly ran for 10 years or more, possibly. Um, it was a successful book. It was female centric, which was rare in comics to have a female centric book that was successful, and yet this one was. Even more remarkable was it wasn't a skin book. It wasn't a good girl art book. It was about two female badasses fighting crime, kicking ass and taking names. And readers responded to it, and they saw what Gorf saw, and they responded to that chemistry, that mix that he saw. The other player here is Frank Pittarese, who gave us the name Birds of Prey. Frank was another DC Comics staffer, and when Gorf threw out to the universe, we need a blanket title for this book, Frank suggested Birds of Prey, and that made it to the top of the list, and eventually that's the one we landed on. Play on words intended. So that brings us to the movie. Well, there was a TV show. Please, let's forget about that. Okay, this upcoming movie, which Warner Bros. Is going to make millions off of. I've been informed by reliable sources that I will be named in the end credits. I'll probably be named after the cat wranglers and the guy who did Margot Robbie's eye makeup. But I'll be listed. And I'll probably be listed with a dozen other people, some of whom probably only ever took a wink at an initial Birds of Prey, but they'll be listed, trust me. But missing from that name of lists is Jordan B. Gorfinkel, the true creator of Birds of Prey. Why is he missing? Because DC Comics has these weird rules about things. And they're rules that they made up. They're not rules that if they break them, the FBI is going to bust their door down. Nobody cares about these rules but them. And one of the rules is, if you're on staff, which Gorf was, he was an editor, if you're on staff and create something, you don't even get acknowledged. You don't get credit, you don't get cash, you get nothing. So Gorf doesn't even get acknowledged for the contribution that he made to this by basically creating it and basically talking about it to me and talking about it at editorial meetings until finally everybody just gave in and went along with it. And the end result is a potentially, multi-million dollar franchise for which he will get no credit, let alone cash. That's another sore point. He created it, I developed it. We're not going to see a dime out of it because, again, these weird rules that DC Comics created. Because we didn't create the characters in the book, we only created the group they belong to. DC sees this as merely, musical chairs. We just sort of rearranged things that they already had in place. Okay, the flowers belong to them. We just put them in the pot. So they do not acknowledge that we are owed anything, either credit or any kind of remuneration. And that's wrong. And that's part of what I am ringing a warning bell about these, multinational entertainment conglomerates not acknowledging the work that you and me and other comic book freelancers put into this stuff. We filled the well for them, and they're draining it, and they're making tens of billions of dollars at the box office and tens of billions of dollars more at your Target and a Walmart, people buying tchotchkes and beach towels and whatever the hell they put these characters on. So this is only going to get worse. But, for the most part, I just want my buddy Gorf to get the credit that's due to him. But he is getting the credit he's due to him because I'm talking to you folks. You're nerds, you're geeks, just like me, and you're going to remember this story because I'm setting it straight for you right now before the movie comes out. And you're going to remember that Jordan B. Gorfinkel created the Birds of Prey because I'm telling you, I was there. I saw it. Now, I'm not asking you to boycott the movie or anything like that. That's silly. Okay? But I just want to set the record straight, put the history down in stone, and let everybody know how Birds of Prey came to be. And that's it. Hey, I'll see you down the road, okay?